Connecting gig workers to hospitality jobs here in Charleston is now easier thanks to a new app called Gigpro. Today, I talk one-on-one with the CEO of Gigpro, Ben Ellsworth, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Ben Ellsworth, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks for having me, Quintin.
Oh, you're very welcome. Obviously, you are a former executive chef with a demonstrated history of working in the hospitality industry, skilled in catering, food and beverage, cooking and event management, of course. You also have strong operational professionals with a degree focused in culinary arts and chef's training. Who is Ben Ellsworth these days?
Well, today I've stepped out of the kitchen and I've stepped out into the unknown pretty much. And have started a software company called Gigpro.
Wow. What got you from being a chef to now this?
I was staring at a pile of dishes. So in 2018, I had started consulting. So I was helping businesses get open so they could start getting revenue. Consulting pays very well, but it can be sporadic. I could go a month or two without a job. So I started Airbnb-ing an extra room out of my house to supplement my income between jobs. I was launching a menu at one of these establishments, and a dishwasher called out for a shift. So I do what you always do in that situation. You look at your staff on hand and say, who knows a guy? We all have 40 people in our phones that could come in and fill the shift, but finding the person available in the moment is impossible. That's when my phone goes off. Someone's booked your Airbnb, and I said to myself, I wish this guy had booked to wash these dishes. And then the light bulb kind of went off. Like, why doesn't this exist? We live in a day and age where I can pull out my phone, I can get a stranger to come pick me up, drive me across town, I can book a cabin anywhere in the world with the click of a button. Here I was running a restaurant and a business out of my house, off of my phone, but I can't get this shift covered, you know? And that's kind of where the idea was born.
And I have two questions for you, Ben. You said this on your Facebook page, quote, fear is a mile high, a mile wide, and paper thin. How many times have you driven that particular mile when it comes to food and bev and Airbnb?
A lot. I think the mile high, mile wide is searching for a way around the fear and kind of pushing forward when all I got to do is kind of step through it, which is a lot harder to do mentally, but it's definitely the quickest route. You know, through this process, I mean, my background is in restaurants, but you know, primarily fine dining. So when I came up with this idea, I mean, the first person to second guess it was me. You know, I was like, are people just going to let anybody back in their business, back in the, you know, in the kitchen where all the recipes are and the standards are? And I was thinking to myself, you're crazy. You know, nobody's going to do this. But then in the same moment, I had to realize, like, I'm letting strangers from all over the world sleep in my house. So, you know, and I climb into cars with strangers all the time. So the model was already there. It just wasn't in an industry that really needs it, especially right now.
Wow. Who else second guessed your model?
I would say about 90% of everyone using it. I was told no a lot. You know, that's kind of that, you know, stepping through that fear as well as I think for an entrepreneur that's really trying to solve a problem, I mean, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of humility. I mean, it takes a lot of no, you're crazy. No, get out of here. No, I never want to see you again. Um, but if you stick with it, if you keep pushing, someone's going to say yes. And, that person was Bill Hall from Hall's Chop House.
Yes, yeah.
And that was a really good yes to have. And I'm very grateful, that Bill was willing to think outside of the box and do something different, because it really helped us with validation. To hear a behemoth like Hall's Restaurant Group was saying, "Hey, we're using it," and also, hey, it's helping us out.
Yeah, he was such a powerful man and such an inspirational guy and a great guy here in Charleston, and we greatly miss him. Yeah. You said this, well, Channel 2 said this, connecting gig workers to hospitality jobs in Charleston is now easier thanks than ever to the app Gigpro. It was created by you along with 3 other people. How were people consulting, connecting with people for jobs before Gigpro?
All we really had back in the day, besides Who Knows the Guy, was Craigslist and Indeed. And so that's a traditional staffing method where, let's go back before the pandemic, before COVID, we were still in a decade-long labor shortage. The press called it hospitality crisis. That's what it was. Where is everybody? So when you're an operator, when you're a chef, and you spend about 50 to 7 hours a week on your feet producing, and you need a shift filled, a permanent hire, and your solution is, hey, who knows a guy? Chances are they're working somewhere too. But then you go to the job market. And the only way that we could really connect with that job market of people that were actively looking for jobs was Craigslist and Indeed. So my experience with both of those softwares was I was dumping a lot of money to use these things, and all they were doing was handing me a stack of resumes. So a lot of work. When you get 200 resumes on your desk, it's overwhelming. I've got to go through each one of these. And then I go through the process. I don't really have time to do that while I'm working, so I got to do it on my time off.
Yes.
I set up 20 interviews. 2 people show up. And that's the process. I don't get a lot of results for the amount of work and the amount of money that I put into it. What Gigpro does, you post out that same job, except it's for one night. You've got that same description in there, except we encourage businesses, because the demand is so high. Hey, sell your culture. Sell why you're the place that they need to come in and give it a test run and try it out. And whether that's just to cover an immediate need or maybe cover seasonal demand. Right now, we're going into a crazy time where everybody's going to need a lot of extra staff. And then we hit January 1st, and it's slow until Valentine's Day or C Week. So for 6 weeks, I don't need a whole lot of staff, but I hired on a whole bunch of people in October. So, we give both sides the opportunity. This is a performance-based industry. A resume doesn't tell me much in this situation. Can you come in and perform the task at hand? Do you jive with my people? Is this the right place for you? And me as a worker, I've never really had that empowerment. If I'm looking for a job, I go to an interview, I leave the interview, I go, I wonder if I got the job, but I never get the opportunity to get inside the business and make a clear-cut decision on how it operates. Is this a good job for me? I've spent a lot of years at a lot of places that probably weren't the best fit, but I need a paycheck. And it's really hard to go out and look for the right job for you when you're working on getting that paycheck. And Charleston's not the cheapest place to live. So one job usually isn't enough. I need to find a second job. that's not really sustainable. I think that is the biggest reason that we've had such a labor shortage for so long. You know, Charleston's gotten more expensive. All these cooks, all these servers, all these hospitality workers, they used to live on the peninsula. They lived downtown. There were these pockets that were affordable. You could walk into work. You could drive into work. Nobody lives on the peninsula anymore. So I got to drive into work. I've got to pay for parking. A lot of things change. You know, when it used to be very desirable to work downtown, where, you know, city center, it's where most of our restaurants are, it's no longer desirable. You know, so, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, you know, why what's going on is going on. I think everybody right now, you know, the labor shortage, I wouldn't even call it a shortage anymore. It's catastrophic. You know, I've talked to so many business owners that should have 8 cooks on the schedule and they have 4. That's a tough spot to be in. You know, right now, the main mission is how do we preserve the core? How do we preserve the people that stuck it out, they're still with us, and get them the help they need? Because if we don't connect with help to preserve the core, they're going to be the next ones to leave. Because it doesn't matter how much you pay a person, you know, if they don't have the opportunity to spend it or the quality of life or the sustainability, it doesn't matter. You know, you can pay 6 figures, and if it's not sustainable, you can't stick around. So it's going to be a big uphill climb. You know, I think temporary help within hotels and catering has been pretty common. We fit their business model really well. We don't have to change a lot of behavior there. But restaurants haven't used a lot of temp help in the past. So there is a behavior change. There is a fear barrier. There is you know, you got to think outside of the box. But right now, there's enough people that have thought outside of the box that in Charleston alone, we're filling about 650 shifts a week.
What are those other barriers that need to be breaking down in the restaurant business?
I think historically, you know, low wages has been a big issue. A long time ago, we didn't have access to information. You know, a long time ago, we didn't have Food Network. Right now, to be a great home cook, it doesn't take a lot of time to download a world-class recipe by a world-class chef, to go out and get some ingredients from the supermarket and bring it home and make a really good meal. The direct competition to restaurants is the home cook. So we had to get better as an industry. Like, man, people are cooking great meals for themselves at home. We have to, you know, get better. And when it used to be a small majority of restaurants that required a high level of skill, you know, fine dining was a very small sector of the industry in a whole, you know, over a little over a decade ago. But if you walk into a moderately priced restaurant now, I mean, you're getting delivered some pretty high quality stuff, especially in Charleston.
Yes.
Which means the skill level had to increase. So if I'm a construction worker and I go into construction entry level and I start out at a rate of pay, and then I work in construction for 10 years, I'm probably going to be in a position where my skill level has got me to a place where I'm making 30 to 40 bucks an hour. But if I'm a chef and I come in to hospitality and I start at entry level pay and I perform really well, and I get 10 years of experience under my belt, It's not the same. And then you gotta realize, like, within the restaurant, there's usually an average of 4 managers. There's a chef, a general manager, assistant chef, and an assistant general manager, and then they usually have 12 to 15 people under them. So there's not a lot of growth either, or opportunity for growth. So when it's not there, people go find opportunity. So I think pay is the first thing, and I think if anyone does enough research, they can see that everywhere. The second, pain point is flexibility, quality of life. I mean, the reason the hospitality industry is so hard is because when the rest of the world is off and having fun, you're on. You work weekends, you work holidays. It's hard to find a work-life balance in that. When you're the one guy in your circle of friends that is in hospitality and everybody's posting on social media how great the weekend on the boat was, and you're not there, it's tough. Should that be incentivized? I think so. It's sacrifice. Now, how we get to that, I don't know. I've tried to disconnect from that as much as I can. I know that this industry is resilient. I think everybody saw that once COVID hit. We pivoted very quickly to curbside and takeout. And I mean, how long did that take? It was quick. It was quick for a nation to do that. Okay, how do we change our business model entirely? I'm kind of saying, hey, here we are. Here's another pivot. Here's a pivot in the form of labor. There's a lot of benefits to using Gigpro. To using temp labor for businesses, not just for pros, giving them the ability to get a higher rate of pay because it's on demand, giving them the ability to work when and where they want, try a place out if they're looking for a job, be able to walk away and say, is this the right place for me? But for the business, we give them the opportunity to bring in who they want. They can view profiles of people that are ready to work right now. We bootstrap this thing on a very small budget. We do have competitors out there that, come out of Silicon Valley. They run some numbers. They put a pitch deck together. They go out and they find venture capitalists and they say, look how big the problem is. They raise $20 million. They build a product that hasn't gone to market yet. And they have these astronomical fees of 35 to 45% that isn't sustainable for an industry that has a profit margin of 3 to 9. So we built it backwards. We built it on a shoestring budget. We can keep our fees low. Come hell or high water, we're not going to raise those fees. And that's because I want to be sustainable for the industry. I don't want to exploit a desperate situation. That's because I spent 25 years in this industry. This industry, what it needs is help. It needs a lot of it. And so does the worker. We're trying to help both sides. And hopefully through the process and the power of connection, we'll get everybody kind of working where they want and give a really transparent look into, what rate should be at. If you post a gig on the platform, it's transparent whether or not it has value.
Yes, indeed. And what are your daily interactions? What are the daily interactions within your app?
So the interactions between the business and the worker on the app. Is that what you're asking?
Oh yeah, you can talk about that as well.
Well, what were you saying?
Yeah, what are the typical daily interactions within your app? What do people do on this app?
They go and make money. They go and help out businesses that need help. They get to pick when and where they want. We're not the magic pill by any means. I know that we work a lot better than begging people to show up for a job interview. There's no money attached to that. I could get the job, I could not get the job. But if I go in and I work for one shift, I know that I'm going to get paid for that one shift. And then I get to make a decision on whether or not the place is right for me, or would I go back? Would I pick up another gig there? Or would I possibly say, hey, are you guys hiring? We have permanent hires off the app all the time. So that's another good thing that, people are actually acquiring permanent staff.
And how many of those permanent, people are they?
I would say we don't track it, but I would say there's probably 100 people that have found permanent jobs that are on the app. That's a powerful thing. We have people that are working on the app full time, and if that's what they're doing, they're getting picked a lot. They're obviously getting picked a lot because they're going in and doing a good job, and they're bringing value, and they're getting paid, for that value with a price point that they're happy with. Other people use it to connect to find a permanent job. Some people, we've got off-duty cops, we've got teachers, we've got firefighters that are stepping in on the weekends to supplement their income, because it seems like the service industry as a whole, is kind of underpaid. And there's a lot of things I think, collectively that everybody should kind of take a look at. Me personally, I don't think cops and firefighters and teachers should need to supplement their income, but they do.
And how many website searches and customer service calls have been reduced since Gigpro was actually launched?
Oh, we get customer service calls all the time. I would say that we're, just through sheer mass. We're in 6, 7 cities now. A lot of people are finding value in it. We're going to be turning on 6 more cities, hopefully by the end of the year. They're all southeast, mid-sized, food-centric markets. We feel like this can be used everywhere, but we want to focus on the South because not only are we all good old Southern boys, but the South needs the money the most. If you get above the Virginia border, line cooks start making $20 an hour, but down here it's still pretty common to see line cooks making $12 an hour. And if you're in one of the, Charleston's an anomaly. The state averages don't work here because the cost of living so high. It's and every southeast state kind of has the same anomaly, and it's usually a food mecca, a dining destination, whether that's Savannah or Nashville or New Orleans or Austin. They're all known for their food.
Yes, indeed. How much app traffic have you received?
We've got 18,000 pros on the platform right now. The majority of those are in Charleston. It might be 19,000 today. We get about 1,000 app downloads a week. And then we are working with about 800 plus businesses.
Wow.
So since November 20th, not too shabby.
That's right. Which keywords online are driving traffic to your app?
I would say hospitality, hospitality work, find work, jobs, gig apps are the big ones.
And how have inbound links helped you?
Inbound links, I would say, are pretty effective, but the number one like marketing driver that we have that brings people is word of mouth. Wow. I mean, the hospitality industry, it's its own little ecosystem. So if it works for one guy, the next day 30 people are going to hear about it.
Yes. And what is that typical age and socioeconomic status of the average Gigpro user?
So the only thing we track is age, and our average user is about 28.
Wow. What is that growth rate with your app?
It's out of control right now. I mean, we're growing at about 150% month over month. The growth chart as of last night was kind of hard to look at, hard to swallow. It's almost straight up, but I mean, October's a massive month for hospitality, and it kind of keeps that same trajectory all the way until January 1st.
Wow. So where do you get the capital to engage in those large marketing campaigns?
We have taken on some investment, but that's basically to build out the team. I mean, we're a software company. We need tech people. Tech people are not cheap by any means, but we're still very much relying on guerrilla marketing. It's very effective in this industry. I mean, we can get out there with some T-shirts and some koozies and hit food and wine festivals and spread the word, and we get people on the ground that go into the late night watering holes where everybody goes after work. Like I said, we just got to get it in front of them, and word of mouth takes care of the rest.
And how have you raised a restaurant's brand with your connection, meaning Gigpro?
Well, I mean, when right now in Charleston, if you're a restaurant and you post a gig on the platform, 18,000 phones go off. So they're seeing your logo, they're seeing that you're putting up real money. And I always tell businesses, getting brand awareness on the platform will get you the help you need, and you kind of get grandfathered in. People get comfortable with you posting, which means they get comfortable with applying, and you get a group of people that know your restaurant, know your people, know the work involved, and they keep applying. And I would also assume that if they keep seeing your logo within the app, you might have someone drive by one day and say, yeah, I came in to eat because I see your logo every day on the app. So, I mean, branding is everything, and how many eyes can you get it in front of is everything. And for the pros, they're creating their own personal business and their own brand. And that brand is, here's how reliable, hardworking, and accountable I am.
Absolutely. And how much money has been paid out since the app has been launched?
Since January 1st, we've paid out over $1 million to pros. And then we've covered a little over 72,000 hours.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
A lot of help. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And this is still a tough question here, but how many hospitality jobs are actually vacant right now?
Infinite. So many.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone would ever be able to wrap their head around that one nationwide. I would say in Charleston, there's probably between 8,000 to 10,000 open hospitality, leisure and hospitality jobs, and that's just a number that the most recent number on labor and statistics. But I would say there's 4,000 restaurants plus on Open Table in Charleston, and so that's only restaurants that are accepting reservations. That doesn't include catering companies, hotels, nightclubs, bars, breakfast spots, lunch spots, cafeterias. I mean,
Yes.
there is so much more, so I think that number is very low. I just don't think everyone has the time right now because they're so understaffed to report it, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, and there's so many tourists coming into town now, even in mid-October. I'm so shocked by that with the people I just saw on King Street. But let me ask you, what or who are your current and past clients on this app?
I would say everybody's still current. So, as far as the worker, we've got anybody that wants to pick up a shift here and there to supplement their income or look for work in a fast, effective, and transparent way. As far as businesses, catering companies, restaurants, food trucks, hotels, events companies. We work with a couple residential and commercial cleaning companies. We've got a couple of farms on there. We've got, anything that could be a leg off of this hospitality thing we're working with.
And how does Gigpro then keep connecting people and employers with the region's growth?
Well, I mean, we're posting 250 gigs to the board a day in Charleston. So, as the demand goes up, the growth goes up.
Growth goes up. That's amazing. Well, Ben Ellsworth, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Yeah, thank you so much, Quintin. Love your energy, man.
Thank you.